All right, we are live on the PHU Dynasty podcast. This is episode 98. We're getting closer and closer to 100, Sean, and this week is special for two reasons. We're doing your team review, but then on top of that, we have football this Thursday. Even though it's the Hall of Fame game, and even though it's Trey Lance starting, we still have football of
But
some
who
kind.
who else is starting in that game, Eric?
I was told by a league source named Sean O'Shea that Omarion Hampton was playing in this game. And when
That's
I
what
tell
Jim
you,
Harbaugh is saying to me. That's what he's
and
saying.
I don't like it. Thanks, I hate it. Get him out of the game. I don't want to see him.
Josh Jacobs played in the Hall of Fame game.
I don't want to see him. I don't care. I don't want to see any injuries. I don't want to see any bullshit. Let's just get to the season. Harris is already hurt. There's no reason to be fucking around with this. Just give Rocket Sanders and Kamani Vidal all the carries. I don't care. Just I'm not. I mean, it'll be cool if he like breaks off like one or two big runs and then just sits. Then where everything's great, everything's wonderful. But I'm gonna be on pins and needles.
Bury the lead, but I want to watch Keandre Lambert-Smith. Apparently, he's been.
There are guys I would like to watch in this game if they're gonna play Trey Harris. Keandre Lambert-Smith is another one. We also get some Oronde Gadsden action. And then on the Lions side, we're going to get a lot of Isaac Tesla, Jackson Meeks from the UDFA article I posted. I think they also took Dominic Lovett, another wide receiver from Georgia that I like in the 7th round. So there should be a lot of like fun people to watch in the game later in the game. But usually it's just awful football. So
if I would be a great DraftKings lineup. Just degenerate gambling going on.
It's always the worst one of the year. It's the worst. Like you just throw like you bet your ass I'm putting Jackson Meeks in that fucking line, and I'm never gonna be rooting harder for Jackson Meeks in my entire life. So it should be really funny at the very least in the 4th quarter of that game. But we do have some training camp news from the last week, so I'm kind of just gonna run down some of the stuff that I'm seeing on Roto World. I guess one of them we could probably start, and it kind of goes with your team. A deeper cut, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He is involved with the ones. And you and I have both really enjoyed. We are Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt enjoyers, I would call ourselves.
Yeah.
So his nickname is Bill, by the way. I don't know if you knew this or not. But
his name is just Bill.
I think like there's a reason. Hold on. And here's one of our tangents here in the PHU Dynasty podcast. I got to find out why his nickname is Bill. Krosky-Merritt Bill. But if his nickname is truly just Bill, I think we might have a Hall of Famer on our hands here. Like, all right, so Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt actually goes by the name of Bill when video of his draft day call from Adam Peters was released. Okay, so he's just fucking Bill?
Says he acquired the nickname Bill from the children's television series Little Bill. Due to his low haircut as a child. His nickname is now Little Bill. I've got to go change that.
If this doesn't rise him 1,000 on Keep Trade Cut right now, I don't know what else to tell you.
It's an elite nickname.
Honestly. All right, so Bill Krosky-Merritt, it is from here on out, which is frankly a lot easier to say. But anywho, he is getting reps with the ones, which is awesome. I definitely thought he was one of these, like really deep sleepers, heading into the training camp, kind of like remind me a lot of like the Pacheco rise to fame, because there was a couple of guys.
Weird, like end of his collegiate career because he like didn't play but like maybe like one game.
I think he played only one game for Arizona total.
But like going into that year, like, he was definitely highly regarded. He wasn't a 7th round pick coming to that year, and I think just what had happened and everything, like it just ended up dropping him. But the talent was definitely there for sure. He was definitely on the radar in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, like my first thought was when I saw that tweet earlier, I was like, "Sheesh, that was quick. We're already with the ones." Like that is a lot faster than I thought. And I think everybody kind of viewed that backfield as like, oh, that's takeable. With Brian Robinson. Austin Eckler, like very mid talents at this point for both of those. So I feel like he could easily find his way into there, especially if he has a good training camp and preseason. So that should be interesting.
So good. Yeah.
Kayshon Boutte currently is the starting X, as it stands for the Patriots. So that's been interesting. So that also involved recently in a trade in our league. So that's something. Najee Harris, still does not have timeline to return to practice. And everything that I've seen from him, specifically the photos, he's got glasses on, he's got hoodies on, there ain't showing anything. So I don't know if he has an eye at this point, Sean.
I mean, at least he's not in at the hospital anymore. I guess that's a good sign.
And I hate to say it, I kind of like the fact that they chose to put him on this IR or whatever you want to call it, because it gives me a roster spot. So I'm not like totally opposed to it at this point.
We get a roster spot for NFI. That's nice.
I believe we do. It counts as like a pup, I think, or something. I don't even know what it shows. Let me see what it says. It says something along the lines of like IR or something. Let me see. It says pup. So I'll take pup. I always take a pup in a roster crunch. So as long as it's not one of my top guys. Next up, let's see what we got. Well, we had the Justin Fields scare last week, which turned out to not really be anything. You think he's already practicing again.
Yep.
So that's exciting. Luther Burden has been not playing, which is interesting. I think he finally got into team drills today. So I think he's back.
Ben Johnson came out and said, yeah, he looks like it's his first day in the NFL and he's behind, is basically what Ben Johnson
Which is just the last thing you want to hear.
But I mean, like, it is the truth. Like, he's behind because he hasn't practiced yet.
He missed like all the rookie stuff.
Yeah, missed mini camp. That is what it is. Like, that's why I'm higher on the other receivers this year over Burden, even though the new regime, new coaching staff, not new regime, Poles is still there, but so I'm still leaning towards those other two guys in the receiver room pretty heavily this year.
Yes, and then we had Isaiah Likely get carted off with a lower leg injury today. I have not seen any updates on that.
Ankle, I think, potentially high ankle.
Don't love any of that.
Harbaugh, before the MRI, said it's probably going to be a few weeks.
Okay, don't like that. Not a good start. Let's see what else we got.
Tibbs doesn't care. He's got both of the guys. It's honestly good for him if it's just one of them. But
then there's Malik Neighbors, who already had a toe injury, but now has a shoulder injury. So that's just not a good feeling when the injuries are piling up before we even get to the first preseason game. That doesn't feel good.
Yeah, so beat reporters say that they avoided any serious injury, and he's probably just going to be like day-to-day or like take a week or two off.
Okay, so that could be worse. Marshawn Lloyd got hurt today, I think.
Groin.
Which is that guy. He might be the Bob Sanders of running backs at this point. I don't think I've ever seen him play, actually. As a matter of fact, I think he's just been hurt his entire career, which is not a good start.
Can't believe neither of the bottom feeders in our league have picked up Emmanuel Wilson yet.
That's an interesting one. Like, if I had the free space, I'd probably have him on my roster at this point, but I frankly do not. So that's an interesting one. And then we had Cortland Sutton agree to a $92 million extension earlier this morning. 4 years, $92 million, which seems like a kind of a good deal in this market, frankly. Which
I mean, for being 29, yeah.
I think the thing is with like Chris Godwin getting paid as much as he did, also 29, that probably kind of set up all these other receivers to get paid this amount. So Terry's going to get stupid money if we're getting Cortland Sutton on 4 years, 92. I think we're getting 115.
I mean, the report said he wanted significantly more than Metcalf got, and
he got 33, didn't he?
Metcalf, I think
33 a year.
30.
Well, here we go back to the squat rack.
But I mean, that's fair. Like he's a better receiver than Metcalf. So
DK Metcalf got 4 years, $132 million, which is that's a lot of money. Guaranteed was 60. So there's a potential out. So basically, it's a 2 year 60, and then they can keep it going after 2 years. So that seems like 30 mil seems right. He was making 24 a year before that, so that makes sense for a number one guy, who's not old. He's only 27, so I mean, yeah, Terry should be getting large, copious amounts of money. Then we had Dante Thornton, who just every time I seem to look at Twitter, he's just getting hype. Like just every day. I believe there was a quote from Geno Smith via Dante Thornton that said he tells me every single day, if you've got a one-on-one matchup, I'm coming to you. So like he's basically a starter at this point.
We're talking Chiefs, right?
Dante Thornton, no.
No, Raiders. Right. I'm thinking of some.
You're thinking of Tyquan Thornton, who
Tyquan
I
Thornton.
forgot was still in the league. Somehow he's also getting hype.
Yeah.
I don't. There's so many weird hype ones this year. Like I've seen hype from players that I literally thought don't exist anymore in the league. Like it's been
the blurb that I heard from the Raiders beat was that they didn't realize how much further ahead he was after they drafted him. Which gives you like a Brian Thomas Jr. kind of vibe. Very different.
Very
not
scared.
Not comparing him to BTJ, but like in that realm, they're like, oh, this is a nice surprise. Like,
yeah, because like the thing is with Jalen Hyatt a couple years ago coming out of Tennessee being so raw and he sucked so bad, and that's kind of the role that Thornton played in college, and nobody really knew. I mean, I guess unless you're the team, doing the scouting, you don't know, really how far along he is until you get him in the meeting rooms and whatever else. So, I mean, he went reasonably high in the draft, I think in the 4th round. So, I mean, he seems like he's going to be the starting X receiver for that team, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there really isn't another prototypical X on that team, so they like kind of need him to work out in a sense if they want like a field stretcher. So
they need somebody with speed. Like,
and then I think it's just Jack Bash and Trey Tucker just battling to the death for the slot spot on the team, I guess.
Not ideal if you talking about Trey Tucker as your guy, but yeah, I like Dante Thornton at least, just in that role. So we'll see if he's got something more to offer. Seahawks released Noah Fant. I think we talked about that last week a little bit, and then there's been some hype on Elijah Arroyo as well early on in camp, so that's interesting. I think that's probably it for now. I don't remember any other big injuries to note in fantasy world. There's, Tyler Guyton for the Cowboys line was a bit notable, I guess, for the run blocking unit there, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, I think 3 different Chiefs receivers got injury designations today.
I did see that. Yes. So Hollywood Brown,
Worthy, and
somebody else. Who's the last one? Oh, Sky Moore. I forgot he's still in the league as well. Maybe that was the other one I was thinking of. Yeah, I don't even know if he makes the team at this point. All right. So with that, we can get into the Long Gamers team review. Sean, this should be a fun one for you. I figure we'll change it up this year. We used to not do our own teams, but I do think it'd be a little bit interesting to see if, like just kind of get maybe to help trade talks or just to see what you think of the players, especially the cuttable guys. It should be interesting.
In fairness to everybody, I told Eric, I was like, please get somebody else for this episode, and he told me to stay on it. So
yeah, I just think it'll be a nice change of pace because we've always done like get somebody else to talk about it. So we'll see. I think it'll be nice to hear. Because I feel like we're closest to our own players. Like we know exactly what news is going on. We know exactly what the hype is. We know exactly which guys suck. And which guy, it's kind of fun to hear like what shitheads you have hope for still as well. Like on my team, I'm going to have a couple of those. So hope
never fades here.
You just got to never let it die. It's the Kyle Pitts mantra.
He's getting hyped too. Don't you worry.
He always does, Sean. You'll never
just
catch the dragon.
Being golf buddies with Michael Penix. It's great.
I mean,
like the new Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford like coffee date.
I didn't remember that. That was kind of funny. All right, so let's start with the quarterbacks, and we got a good room here. Really like the room. This is the prototype QB room. You got the elite starter. You got the solid backup in Jared Goff, and the developmental second-year rookie-ish kind of guy in Drake May. I love it. I think this is an awesome room. Jackson, we could start there. Still elite, still selling real fake doors. I mean, the guy, all he does is produce. We could quick keep trade cut here, Sean. We got George Kittle, Zay Flowers, and Xavier Worthy.
You could just do that. Keep trade cut in order.
Interesting.
I don't care how old
Man.
George Kittle is. He's elite.
Yeah, that's the only thing is just the age. Otherwise, I kind of agree with you here. All right, we'll roll with that. All right, so yeah, just Lamar, like his value over the last year is pretty much held. I mean, he was so freaking awesome last year. Um, Basically was the MVP outside of Josh Allen. So
Outside of not winning the MVP.
I mean, like he without like this is an interesting conversation. Like without Lamar on the Ravens, like what is the Ravens offense? Because it's basically just Derrick Henry. Like I mean, like I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you don't like it's crazy because you don't need to have a very like impressive offensive line with Lamar. That's like his superpower is just so fluid and is just so good at avoiding pressure. Like he just makes everybody around him better, which I think is probably I think he's probably at this point probably better at that than Mahomes is, but Mahomes' offensive line's been bad the last 2 years, so it's hard to tell. But he's just such a elevator with the people around him. It is scary to think like what it would look like without him.
Yeah, I mean, like the Ravens in general just are so good at drafting, developing finding offensive linemen off the street, drafting ones late in the draft. They just always seem to surround him with everything that he needs. And, Lamar just like, I think the most important part here is, Lamar's legs are so valuable, but he does such a great job of staying healthy as well. Like he's not a big guy, but he gets down when he has to. He runs out of bounds when he has to. He doesn't ever really seem to take the big hits like Jaden Daniels does. So I think that means something if you're trying to evaluate like out of these top, 5 or 6 quarterbacks, like which one, at least out of the runners, do you feel most strongly about to play, the majority of the games and give you elite play week in, week out? Like he's got to be up there. So I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about. Anything else that you want to mention on Lamar?
No, I mean, I expect top 3 year every year at this point. Like I'd be shocked if he was any lower than QB3.
And he's going to be turning 29 this year, which basically is his prime, if you ask me. For the running quarterbacks, maybe a little bit younger, on the prime, but like he's shown absolutely no signs of changing at this point. So until you see something with your own 2 eyes, you just keep rolling them out there. So let's go to Drake May, who is a very interesting topic of conversation this year. Sean, I know that you're very high on him. I'm also high on him as well. You have him quite high in redrafts. I think.
I was just going to pull that up. I'm trying to remember where I had him.
Well, while you're doing that, 23-year-old this year, first round pick last year, 3rd overall. Basically last year with the Patriots, I just considered to be. It's almost like an Urban Meyer Jaguars year, where it's just like throw it all out the window because the coaching was such a shit show. Very interested to see him play this year. Like he's one of the guys I'm most interested to watch all year long, I think, this year. Where you got him, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, he comes in 6-point scoring. I've got him at QB 12 this year.
Okay. So and I think that's totally, I mean, obviously a big point of contention in the league the other day with the debate, Drake May versus Tua. So I feel like we have to at least mention that. I guess I don't even remember what was it Dynasty? Was it fantasy? Was it real life?
I was talking real life. It was just stern shit. I just watching on the field without just the background of what they've done so far, just watching on the field from last year. I just think that if I in a vacuum a game tomorrow, which quarterback I would rather have, it would be Drake May.
Yeah, there's just so many damn variables in that question. That's the hardest part of this. I mean, if it was I knew the offense around Tua was going to be perfectly set up and everything was great, I would take Tua. But then if I needed somebody to improvise on their own and kind of just make shit happen, I think I'd probably take May at this point. So it's just so open ended. But in terms of his dynasty value right now, he's at the 5,500 range, which is usually right around the late first. Which is great considering where you got him in the rookie draft. Definitely increased value over time. I just think this situation, Sean, is just so much better this year than it was last year. I mean, obviously the wide receiver room didn't totally upgrade as much as I would like them. I really thought they were going to go hammer it a little bit more. But I think when they lost out on Godwin and didn't really have a whole lot of other options in free agency, I didn't know what else they really could do outside of like a big trade, and they kind of
Mhm.
just held their cards. So, like, what do you make of this situation? Obviously, the upgrade of the offensive line as well. How much better are you feeling heading into this season?
I mean, it's still probably just like outside of May, it's probably still like a bottom 10 offensive situation in the NFL. I don't think that's like a hot take. It's great that Diggs isn't going to apparently miss any time. I think that's great for him. And then just all the reports at a camp is that like the receivers are not like amazing, but like they're Kyle Williams has popped. We'll talk about him later. And the right Travion Henderson looks great. Like the line isn't like awful. It's like managing. So like it's really all you can hope for. Like when you're in such a bad situation, like you just got to keep moving, just like in that right direction. I mean, it's not great yet, but it's considering what he's able to do with what he had last year. I think honestly you should project for a pretty significant increase in just his play.
Yeah, I mean, I think the upgrade last year with offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt, I think it was last year, going to Josh McDaniels, who obviously did not have a great head coaching career, but he's always been a good offensive coordinator.
Mhm.
That's a huge bump. The offensive line adds Will Campbell, a couple other guys. That's a bump. They still got Hunter Henry, who I think is a great target for a young quarterback. And then they've added at least a couple receivers, and some of the other ones might get better as well. So I really, and I think Henderson is a very undervalued, or not undervalued, but under talked about asset for a young quarterback too, because he's great in pass pro and he's great out of the backfield. So they'll do all kind. I think they'll get more creative in terms of screen game, in
Mhm.
terms of getting these guys involved, getting the ball out of his hands quicker. Because last year was just like Drake May hold the ball, figure it out, scramble around, just make shit happen. And I think this year is going to be a lot more structured for him, which I like. He's definitely one of my breakout candidates, if you will, this year.
Yeah, I think like the buzziest thing about him from like a fantasy perspective is like the stat that's gone around of like he only had one designed rush last season for
Which is crazy.
all the rushing attempts he had and the yards that he had on the ground. And now I guess like he and McDaniels have talked about pulling out like some of the playbook from when McDaniels had Cam Newton in New England a few years ago, where their rushing was it was a crazy playbook that they were running.
Yeah, there was some of the most crazy wide receiver, quarterback runny type things going on. I also think too, like Drake May is just underrated as an athlete. Like everybody thinks
Oh yeah.
he's kind of this like big statue, but I think him and Trevor Lawrence also share the same kind of athletic traits where they don't like like they don't look aesthetically like they're going to be good athletes, but they are. So I think both of those guys should get a bump,
Mhm.
just for this year specifically, because I think they have competent offensive coordinators for the first times in their careers. So that should be great.
Yeah, I think he was just a victim of being in the same class as Jaden Daniels when it comes to like talking about
Yeah.
just being productive on the ground, being an athlete. So, but he is like right up there with like almost any other quarterback that's come out as far as just being able to move.
Yeah, and that's what you need today, and especially in Dynasty and Fantasy too. So should be a fun year to watch him play. And then we have Jared Goff, kind of the elder statesman in this room at 31 years old this year, which is kind of funny. He's been just so rock solid, and he's to me at least in Dynasty, when we're talking about roster construction, just an ideal backup at the very least. He's startable on a week-to-week basis based on matchups.
Mhm.
Can definitely fill in. He won me a championship last year in redraft. I started him over Mahomes all last year. So he definitely a more than usable asset. Uh, and frankly, just one of those guys you put into your roster and you just don't have to worry about him. I do think there's going to be a bit of a regression, perhaps, just in overall offensive output, just for the Lions in general because of Ben Johnson leaving. But I still don't think that's going to be detrimental to his overall value. I think he'll be just fine. Um, and I also like every time I see a video of these guys, the Lions practicing, um, they're taking a lot of shots. I've noticed, like just like I mean, maybe it's just training camp. They're trying to get some downfield shots or whatever. But it seems like they're going to maybe take some more shots than years past. Like most of the stuff last year was like very like trickery when they go downfield. And I think this year maybe a little bit different than that. So
Yeah, that
that's
definitely feels like it was a Ben Johnson thing for sure.
yeah, like messing around a little bit. And Ben was just so good at scheming people over in the open and the wide, like middle short area of the field. Like it seemed like the screen games were always incredible. So I'm wondering how different this offense will look, and I think everybody is. So should be fun to watch. Any thoughts on Goff here? Or just gonna keep humming along?
I mean, I think we've hit it like almost every episode so far, but like the interior offensive line, like changing up this season is definitely going to be like something to watch. Specifically, losing Ragnow, who could just call protections and whatnot before the play. I mean, now they're going to be rolling with rookie at center and then Glasgow and Christian Mahogany at guard. So completely new interior, basically. Although Mahogany, like looking at his tape after he took over at the end of last year, that dude was nasty.
I remember when he came out of Boston College, like he was one of those classic like phone booth guys that could just beat the fuck out of you, and those are like by far my favorites. So it's funny because like the Bucks seem to have amassed 5 of those guys, which is why they're so fun to watch on tape, and I'm very excited to watch them again this year. But the Lions with Sewell, Mahogany, and then watching Ragnow last year, man, what a fun offensive line that was to watch. So I think it'll be a very maybe it'd be some change, but like you said, for a guy like Goff who doesn't move a lot, interior rush is going to ruin his day. So if it does take a little time to gel, maybe it'll be a little bit of a challenge, but I think he'll be just fine. Really, at the end of the day, I'm not too worried about it. So with that, we'll go to the running back room, starting off with a 6,041 valued Chase Brown, the top valued running back on your team based on keep trade cut value. Going to be 25 this year. He was a 5th round pick, a late 5th round pick a couple of years ago in the draft. I remember when he was fighting for the job with somebody else that was on James's team, and I thought it was funny because I liked the other guy more, and he sucked. Chris Evans, I want to say.
Oh yeah, Captain America.
It was Chris Evans and like Chase Brown were the backup to God, who was it? Mixon, I think.
At that point, yeah, it was probably Mixon.
So but neither one of them really did much of anything until Mixon left. So yeah. Anywho, all that to say, breakout year for Chase Brown last year. You can definitely see it on the chart. He was down in the 3,000s at one point, which is wild. He's blown up his value to 6,000, almost double, and he's pretty much locked and loaded at this point. I haven't seen him outside the RB12 in redraft leagues. I mean, he seems to be going very high in redraft leagues, and most of the time I'm seeing him going like the 3rd. In some of the early mocks I've watched on different channels and whatnot, he seems to be going in the 3rd round. So a huge boost in value over the last couple of years. So how are you feeling about him going into this year, knowing that he's going to be essentially the guy? There's really no great competition. I mean, I'm a Taj Brooks truther, and I still don't think he's going to be much of a factor this year unless Brown gets hurt. He's just like more of a handcuffy kind of guy. So
yeah, I mean, he kind of got like the same like beginning of the offseason, like whatever the opposite of buzz is that like Kyren Williams always seems to get. We're like, okay, but this guy was a late round pick, so like who's going to unseat him as soon as there's an opportunity to kind of vibe. And like I think since training camp has started, because of the hype that the team has been giving him, I think that's just completely gone away. I mean, their offensive coordinator was literally like talking to the beat reporters about like what the scrimmage yardage record was for running backs in Cincinnati, like in the same conversation with Chase Brown.
That's wild.
Like, if you're talking about that guy is getting a ton of work, and like for me, he's a low end RB1 for this year, just because I mean it's still a passing heavy offense, so there's not going to be a ton of opportunities on the ground compared to like some of the other like run heavy teams. But I mean, honestly, he's probably got top 5 upside. But
I think so too. I mean, one of the interesting quotes I just looked it up again because I remember seeing it. Offensive coordinator Dan Pitcher said Chase Brown is going to, by the end of the season, be a household name. He's everything Austin Eckler was, and you all know who he is. So, I mean, I don't really disagree with them either. The game is very similar. Like, they play a very similar type of game. And, you know, when Austin Eckler was a stud, he was, you know, right at the top of drafts every year. And I don't really see a whole lot of differences. So, I mean, I think all these other, you know, like who's going to unseat him, I think I agree. Don't need to worry about it for this year. Zach Moss has like a terrible neck injury, so he's might not even make it to the season.
Yeah, the recruiters had said that he's basically on the roster bubble at this point.
I think there's like even talk of him like retiring at this point. So
yeah.
So there's that, and then you have Samaje Perine, who's basically only a third down back at this point, and then Taj Brooks. So like to me, I just don't see anybody really getting enough work to even really like factor in. So I think it's going to be his show, outside of maybe some third downs that he needs a rest or something. So I'm feeling very good about Chase Brown this year, and this is an offense that I want a piece of this offense. You know, like I just in redraft, like I need something in this offense because they have so much talent. They had such a great output last year. You just want to be involved in this team in some way. So I think this is going to be a very good running back for your team this year. Let's go to James Cook, who he's kind of he wants to get paid. He's been, you know, just in general kind of trickling down the keep trade cut value, but I really think it's only because this holdout or whatever you're calling it. And I do think his value is a bit tied up as well. Just in being a Bill, right? Like if he's not on the Bills, do we feel as good about his outlook? I mean, I kind of don't. Like I'm not like a huge James Cook guy in general, but he had great touchdown output last year. He was very solid last year. I don't think he's a bad back. But
he's got like the things that he's not good at, he's very poor at.
Correct. Absolutely.
I mean, that's what doesn't keep him on the field. Like his pass pro is potentially the worst in the league of any running back. Like it is awful.
I don't think people realize he's only 190 pounds. Like he's not a big back.
He's small.
So I mean, he should be a third down back in all, you know, like based on stature, but that's just not who he is. He's actually very good in between the tackles. So very strange runner. Kind of like in a lot of ways, kind of mirrors Bucky Irving, but without that extra third down. Where it's kind of like he's the smaller back that just makes stuff happen in between the tackles. But anywho, like I don't love or hate him. I kind of just feel like indifferent towards him. But for this year, assuming his contract situation gets handled, I don't think you can have him any lower than like the middle of, you know, RB2 at the very least. Like he's gonna get the touches.
Yeah, I mean, I've got him at RB15, so literally right in the middle there of the RB2s.
So here's a question for you: is he a guy that, like, because of the contract situation, and you know maybe it doesn't get handled until the year, you know, starts or whatever, and it drags into the season? How do you feel about him in Dynasty in terms of his value? Is he a guy that you would like to hold on to, maybe like move on from at some point? Or
I completely think that he's just going to hit free agency after this year. I don't think they're going to pay him, but I think he's going to play, and it's just going to be what it is.
Yeah, to me, like it would be a bit of a tough sell to pay him because he isn't like we were just talking about. He's not an every down, every play, every all-world player. He's not in the realm of, you know, Jonathan Taylor when he got paid or any of these other guys when they got paid. I don't think he's that, and because of that, I think he has a higher likelihood of hitting the market. And the Bills have to pay Josh Allen. They have to pay some of these big defensive players they have. They have to pay a bunch of offensive linemen. I think they just had a couple come up. So like it's going to be tough cap wise for them. And to pay a running back who can't do it all seems like it might not happen. And Ray Davis is good. So like they don't need to worry too much about having a replacement. They can draft one. So I kind of agree.
If I'm the Bills, I'm not really like interested in going over more than like 10 per year.
Which 10 is fair. I think 10 works. Like that's what he probably should be getting paid.
And like on that team, like their other running backs are good. They can just draft another one and probably like or late day 2, and they probably feel like they're fine. So like I think
Absolutely.
it's just the cost of doing business. Like everybody else got paid, and this is just where we had to kind of draw the line in the sand. And for Cook, I think he'll be fine on another team because he's a guy that is just dangerous from like 50 yards out. And there's only so many guys that are like that in the NFL.
Right.
So I think he'll still hold value on another team. It might not be the value that he's accrued the last year or two, but I still think he's a quality asset even on another team for sure.
Trying to see what his market value shows on here. Spotrac estimates James Cook's market value at 10.2.
Nailed it.
So there you go, right there. It looks like he's asking for 15.
Right.
So that's probably just not going to happen. So we'll see though. Interesting player for Dynasty.
Boys next year. It'd be great.
That seems like totally a guy that they would want and overpay. So totally makes sense for me. All right, next up on your list here for Keep Trade Cut values, RJ Harvey at 5,400. This is a guy that, as I was watching, and I don't even know how much I've mentioned it on the draft episodes we've done, I wasn't as high as everybody else. I just landed there. I think he has a lot of great traits, and then there's some traits that I don't really love as much. I don't love that he's 24.5 already. I don't love that it took him a while to kind of get going at UCF either. There's kind of just like a few things that bother me, and I also don't think, realistically, I don't think he should have been a second round pick. Like I don't think anybody really saw that coming.
That I definitely agree on.
I had him somewhere in like the round 4 range, especially in this class. There were definitely guys I liked more than him coming into the draft, but now it's undeniable when you get second round draft capital in a Sean Payton offense and there's not a whole lot of competition. Like it makes total sense why he's going at the back end of first and rookie drafts. And I get it.
Yeah. I mean, like it's so many times when we talk about teams or like GMs or coaches that just don't give a shit about draft value, like 90% of the time it's because they suck and they don't know what they're doing and it doesn't work out. But Sean Payton has just kind of proven at this point that like he's gonna like he knows what he wants, he's gonna get it, and like he works with it really well. Like nobody thought Bo Nix was a top 12 worthy pick last year. I
didn't think Marvin Mims was a second either, and I love Marvin Mims.
Correct. So like at this point, you just kind of roll with it. Like he's gonna make it work, and he's reviews out of camp so far have been just amazing. So I mean, that's really what it comes down to. The situation is just so good that I will take the age over the death spiral that's Pittsburgh, because that was the decision I had between him and Caleb Johnson.
Right.
That team there's just so easily could be just terrible this year.
Yeah, I think if you're just projecting and the age isn't as much of a factor as like I used to really take a lot of stock into that, but then as time has gone on with contracts and running back contracts at this point, a second contract for a running back is like pretty much almost like it's not even existing at this point. So if you can get like 4 or 5 years of quality running back play, he ends up being 28, then so be it. Like that's kind of, if you can get 4 or 5 out of your running back at all, let alone a second contract, that's usually excellent. So that's not so much of a worry as much as some of the other things I have for him. But in terms of him versus Caleb Johnson, I do think it's a bit of a coin flip at this point. And if you're going to side with a coin flip, you probably should side with the situation. So I kind of agree with what you have to say there. My only question for this year really is just like, what's the split look like? Dobbins was brought in. He's going to play. I think Estime is going to have some value at some point on goal lines or maybe some just siphoning carries away. But this has always been a thing with these Sean Payton offenses, just kind of spreading the ball around, getting guys touches. But one thing I do know about Sean Payton is he's always going to put his guys in the best positions that they possibly can, going back to the Pierre Thomas days, and going back to the Latavius Murray times and the Mark Ingrams, the Alvin Kamaras, even Aaron Stecker. I'll drop an Aaron Stecker. on
Throw
you.
Taysom Hill in that.
Taysom
too.
Hill. There's always been guys that like just find their way into some role, and usually those roles have some value in fantasy at the very least. So
Yeah,
I think
I'll tell you right now, I've got him for 180 plus carries and around 50 catches this year.
that's a lot of catches.
That's the offense.
Man, that is the offense. That is a lot of catches. That's more than
I
I was
mean,
thinking.
Javonte Williams had like almost 70 catches last year.
Which is not Javonte Williams' thing.
Yeah.
I think they just forced him. They're like, you're going to do this whether you like it or not.
Bo Nix baby check down.
He does love the check down. So, I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting because now, like, with him and Dobbins, they both do that quite well. So I think they'll have more. And then McLaughlin is still around, too, if he makes the team. So, like, they have options at the passing game now.
Yeah,
so
I mean, just given, like, how good Sean Payton is at scheming in the red zone, I think that's, like, one of maybe his most underrated traits as an offensive mind. Like, he's just so good at getting his team in the end zone. Like, I think RJ Harvey's got a great chance to lead all rookies in touchdowns this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not totally opposed to that. Like, I think he could be up there if he gets the touches that you're saying. Yeah, he absolutely could be up there. And I think he's going to be just one of those guys. Like, I wonder how much he's actually going to play in like the preseason. I wonder if he's going to play much at all. But I do know that Sean Payton likes to bring the rookies on a little bit slower for the most part, especially the skill positions. So we'll have to see kind of what it looks like. But that means we might get some more Harvey in the preseason. All right, let's keep this moving. Let's go to Alvin Kamara for the Saints here. RB22 in Dynasty, 4,500 value. He just turned 30 actually. He's kind of like just doesn't quit. He's like a little bit of an Energizer bunny.
Look at that line.
The line has stayed nice and strong since the season ended. Actually, his value's gone down since the season's ended, which is kind of strange. But I think since what was it, 2020 here. So when he was at the peak, it was 2020, and it's been about 5 years since then. But the man just keeps producing. He's just one of those guys like you wouldn't get rid of him unless like you absolutely needed to. Like you just don't really want to move on from him because he just gets the job done. I have him in another league and I keep thinking it's like, oh, I could maybe trade him for like some future stuff. But then I was like, you know what? Who am I going to get that's going to give me Alvin Kamara production? So it's like, that's kind of where we land.
I have a question out to the league, and if somebody can find potentially a better running back for this question, let me know. But is he the greatest running back of all time that's never had a season of 1,000 rushing yards?
Wow, that's an interesting stat. I mean, he's just so good in the receiving game. I mean,
Mhm.
he's literally a receiver. I think he and Achane have a lot of similarities now, like the modern day,
Yeah.
like where it's just like so much of the value is based on the receiving game, and usually he's schemed up so well. I don't think Kellen Moore coming in is going to change any of that. I think he's just going to kind of end up in the same kind of role that he's always been. I mean,
especially if Shuck is playing, like that's just check down machine.
There's going to be more. That is going to be stupid catches. How many catches do you have him projected at?
75.
That seems low, like, which is wild.
I have him for 99 targets.
That's crazy. But like, I can see it. I 100% can see it.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, for your team, like other than, flipping him for maybe like a younger back, like I don't see there's a real reason to move on from him, especially because you're going to try to win again. So like, might as well ride this one into the sunset. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Him at this point, I think it's just him and Reek we're just riding. We're just in it for the long haul at this point.
And they're just hard guys to trade for one reason or another. They're just both older.
Because they like to beat people up when they're not on the football field.
There's that. Yeah, Kareem Hunt should be on this team as well.
He kicks. He doesn't punch.
Yeah, you got the whole the whole well-rounded UFC fighter. Let's go to Tyrone Tracy at 3,800 value. His value, unfortunately, has sunk a little bit since the drafting of Cam Skattebo, but I mean, he looked good last year, Sean. That's all I gotta say. Like,
I think he's a good player, and maybe not as good situation. I mean, that's kind of what it is at this point. Like, I think Skattebo is a quality player. I think he's a quality player. They'll probably end up having some sort of a split. I don't know how even it'll be or what the distribution is. they're kind of redundant players in like what they're able to do. So it is hard to kind of nail down like a role for either guy, but I still see I almost said Harvey. I still see Tracy as like the fantasy leader on this team at the end of the year, no doubt.
Yeah, I think at the very, very least, especially for your team, like he's gonna be a flex guy.
Yeah.
You can plug him in and know that you're gonna get a decent amount of receiving game. You're gonna get probably a couple of explosive screen games, stuff like that, at the very least. But I think based on last year, just kind of that meteoric rise he had from being that late round pick, he's a guy that like I'm not going to bet against at this point, just because he seems to have proved me wrong every time I've bet against him. So, just kind of I think he's just a solid dynasty player at this point. And the only thing that's kind of really I think it's kind of baked into his values, the fact that he's going to be 26 this year as a second-year player, which is kind of wild.
We love old running backs here.
But you know what? If they produce, it doesn't really matter too much. So once again, this kind of gives you the same argument as the RJ Harvey thing. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get one contract very likely, and then the second one is always just like a coin flip if you're going to get to it. So might as well ride it out. So I like Tracy. I think he's going to have value no matter what. It's just a matter of how many touches and what the split looks like, and how much does Scadaboo really cut in, and that'll be a fun storyline. Scadaboo should be very fun to watch in the preseason as well, by the way. Very excited for that. All right, next on the list, J.K. Dobbins. We did kind of mention him. I guess just we can kind of wrap up the Broncos backfield on what do you have both statted out? I know you said 180 and 55 for. Where do you have Dobbins?
J.K. Dobbins. I have around like 150 carries on the year.
Okay, so pretty much like an even split for the most part.
Yeah, pretty good chance that Dobbins gets that like Ingram goal line work, most likely on that team. So we'll see how it goes.
Harvey was pretty good in college at that, though.
Yeah, I mean, Kamara is good on the goal line. So like,
yeah,
it might just
a lot of touchdown opportunity.
They'll mix it around. I think they're both going to be very playable this year. So, I mean, his running backs are always producing. So, I mean, it wasn't just like a handcuff trade for me. Like I just think he's going to be usable.
Yeah, he's gonna. I think once again, like another flex guy that you could throw him in if you had to. In Dynasty, having depth that plays at running back is so important. Because you could easily have like these handcuffs like Giddens or even a Braylon Allen from last year, like where you can have the handcuff, but they don't like have their own standalone value. So if you can find guys like that means something. So Javonte Williams, who I think at this point, like it was kind of a joke that Javonte Williams was going to be the starter for a while, and then now it's like, oh shit, we should probably take this seriously.
What's like the starter?
I mean, like I have a hard time with this because I absolutely love Javonte Williams coming out of college.
Oh my god, it's so ugly to look at that value chart.
Very strange value chart from when he was drafted. He got all the way up to 8,300 in value. That's crazy. So yeah, like I was just kind of getting at is like he was just one of these guys I loved coming out. The talent was so apparent. He ran so hard. Basically him and Omarion Hampton have a lot of similarities, and just the fact that they run like bowling balls, and unfortunately that led to him getting hurt a few different times in the past couple of years. And ever since that major injury, it did look like it sapped some of his explosiveness, which sucks because that's what he kind of, outside of just being so physical, when you could be physical and explosive, that's where you get the elite talent. So
yeah,
I think I think we were robbed of an excellent NFL running back. That's the way I kind of feel about Javonte at this point. I feel like we just got robbed. So now, like we're talking, he's younger than Tyrone Tracy, which is interesting. So that's crazy.
That's really
and he's only 25 years old. He's going to be the starter. And if there's any chance that, he can maybe get back to, a whole year now removed from that injury, more than a year, maybe there's like a second shot for him. And I think his value down here at 3,300, like he still has upside somehow after all this. He still has upside. So how do you see Javonte Williams?
I mean, this talking about guys that you just don't want to give up optimism for. Like, I mean, he's definitely at the top of the list on my team.
He's got to be up there.
I think he's going to fall into a lot of opportunities just because of the depth chart. I mean, I've got him for over 200 carries at this point, like for the year.
Yeah, who else is going to get him?
Who else is going to get it? it's like that fantasy, the running back dead zone kind of. He's like the most obvious. Like, who was the guy for the Falcons a couple of years ago?
The Mike Davis.
Mike Davis. Like, he's just like the most obvious Mike Davis. Like,
I just think he's so much better than Mike Davis. That's the problem.
Right. Well, like that's definitely like when you hit that point in the draft, you're like, okay, this is that guy. Like
usually 8th round. He's the Rashad Jennings from back in the day.
I got the RB1 on the, but it's like the 30th running back off the board. But he's the guy.
But that's my guy. Yeah,
The problem is like you look at the depth chart behind it, and there's no guy that's gonna like beat him halfway through the year because I mean Jaden Blue at this point, like the team hates him, and he just even if he gets on the field, he's not gonna take a majority of the work. He's just too small to do that. Like Jaden Blue can't even hold on to the ball anyway when he gets carries. He's just a fumbling machine. So
I mean, it seems like recently he's kind of popped back up on the positive radar. At least from what I've seen, but like that's not saying a whole lot. I mean,
yeah, I mean they've talked about Miles Sanders. I've seen enough of that story to like.
No, I think he's a big nothing burger. Like everybody's like, oh, he's still alive. It's like, no, he's not. I don't believe in that.
So
now here's the thing: is like so last year, Rico Dowdle finished with 235 carries, 1,000 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Finished RB 23. Like. Why can't Javonte Williams do that?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know an answer other than the fact that like he could 100% fall into touchdowns just because I think this passing game is going to be sick.
It should be better at the very least. Like they were not good last year.
This team is never going to see a one high safety if both those receivers are on the field. So there's going to be plenty of room for him to run and plenty of room for Turd Ferguson to catch balls in the middle of the field. So like this offense is going to be very good, assuming, Dak doesn't tear another muscle off of his bone, which we'll see. But
I just can't get a hand.
I mean, if you're talking about that and they're moving the ball, the touchdowns are going to have to be there. Dak isn't Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen running the ball in. So like, this is going to be, assuming it's Javonte, he's going to get the ball. Like I don't think I'd be shocked if he had double-digit touchdowns this year.
No, I can see like a Gus Edwards kind of scenario, honestly. Yeah. Like that wouldn't surprise me.
I'm most definitely not accounting for that on my projections, but like it wouldn't surprise me.
It's in the range of outcomes. That's really what it comes down to. And like to me, if Rico Dowdle, I don't think anybody thought was like a great talent, really. Like he's fine. He's kind of like just a guy, but I don't think that Javonte is too far off of that. So, I mean, if that's what it ended up being last year, then, I think that would be a great outcome this year for Javonte Williams as your RB7 based on keep trade cut value. So that's pretty great.
Yeah, I've got him as a fringed low-end RB3 right now in redraft.
And I think that, what is that, like 8th round probably? Like ADP is probably like 70s and 80s. Like
I haven't done any mocks yet. There's no point in us doing mocks for redraft.
It's a little early, yeah. And for us, it's just the running backs are a shit show. Yeah. The only thing I will say is I really enjoy the Fantasy Pros website, the Draft Wizard they have, because if you have like their account or whatever, which I do, I really do like, the tendencies I put like very high for running backs, and then it kind of looks like our drafts a little bit for the most part. So I kind of enjoy that.
I think it's definitely going to be at least, I think it's going to be 8 running backs in the first round this year.
I wouldn't be surprised at 8 or 9. Yeah.
It's going to be 8, and then it's going to be Chase, and it's going to be, Jefferson probably.
Yeah. Javonte's ADP based on Fantasy Pros right now is 96, so a 9th round pick, which seems a bit low, honestly. So, and then Fantasy Football Calculator, which is another site I tend to like a little bit for drafts, they have them in the 8th round, 8.2, so that kind of adds up. Yeah. All right, so moving on. Sorry.
Creeping up like on those sites since they like every day that goes by where they don't like make a trade or do a signing or something like that.
Yeah, I think like once the preseason starts and then like Javonte isn't playing because he's a starter, like then people be like, oh shit, yeah, I should probably be treating him like a starter.
Yeah.
Like when we see Miles Sanders get that first carry in preseason and Javonte's on the bench, then everybody will be like, okay, yeah, fine. All right, going to our next guy, we got Devin Neal, who's part of that backfield there with Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, and some other no-namers. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, is on this team.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, like, I think we talked a little bit about Neal on previous podcasts for the draft. I'm a fan. I think he's just one of those rock-solid guys. He reminds me a lot of, like, Ray Davis from previous years where he just kind of does everything well. So I could see him getting to Ray Davis status this year where it's like we know there's an established starter, but Devin Neal could be that like kind of ready to go backup and handcuff. So
give me a lot of like as far as like I'm going to do my job and I'm going to do everything correctly, but nothing amazingly. Just get me like the Kyron Williams vibes. Not
he's
different sizes.
He's like a budget like Blake Corum. Like he's like you can get him for so much less than Blake Corum.
Blake Corum.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Then we have Brashard Smith for the Kansas City Chiefs. He has gotten some buzz, but it seems like he's kind of on a bit of the outside looking in, at least from early reports, like in terms of just like who's getting used with the ones. He's sprinkled in with the ones from what I've seen, but it's not super often. So I think this is just going to be. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say like, it's very buzzy to say he's worked in with the ones, but I think they've had like 5 running backs run with the ones at different points. So like you take everything with context. Like I'm not out here to just blow my team up. Like this guy's running with the ones and that guy's running with the ones. Like,
well, here's the thing. But with every year, there's always like one of these late round running backs that kind of just lingers around. And you see them, and then like in the preseason, then they kind of show some stuff, and then all of a sudden like they realize that maybe this guy is better than this guy, and we just needed to get him more touches, or he needed more time in the playbook, or something like that, and then they kind of just like explode. I don't think that's out of the question for Brashard Smith at all. Like he was so good in college, and he's one of the guys that, frankly, on this team, they don't really have a guy like this. They don't have anybody
exactly.
Like
that was exactly going to be my next point. Is like he just has a skill set that's just not in this backfield right now, as far as his ability to catch passes out of the backfield with speed. Kareem Hunt can obviously do what you need, and he's kind of the guy that just fills whatever is there that they need him to do. And then Pacheco is probably just their the best just through the middle runner. But I mean, Elijah Mitchell is there. We'll see how long it takes him until he's hurt.
I give him 11 minutes.
I am blanking on. I guess that's it. Those are the 3 guys that I would say are like.
And then the ghost of Carson Steele, maybe. Whatever you make of that. I don't know. I feel strongly about Brashard Smith's talent enough to believe that he's going to be a stash guy to start for sure.
He's 100% going to be on my roster. Yeah.
But like he's a stash guy, but like he's one of those guys that like absolutely could blow up by like week 8 and actually like be involved in this offense in a bigger capacity than we're thinking. All right, so next we have Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, or Bill, as we just mentioned earlier.
Little Bill.
He's sprinkling in. I think he's got a shot, Sean. I think there's a real reason to believe he's got a shot.
What's his value looked like over the last like 2 weeks? You pulled him up. Okay. All right.
He doesn't even go back further than the draft because he was off the radar entirely. He had 93.
Whew.
He was 93 on whatever date this was, and then he kind of it was like right after he got drafted, I guess. So he's gone up. He's been moving. I think one preseason game he's going to be in the 2000s easily.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
he's good.
Yeah.
He's a good back.
Just the other guy I liked coming out. Like, there's just so many good running backs this year that, like, stop us if you've heard us say this before. Like, these guys got pushed down, and, like, there's just a lot of talent on day 3 out of the running back position this year.
This is just such a great draft for running backs. I mean, we're talking Taj Brooks. We're talking Jarquez Hunter, Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, Damian Martinez in the 7th. Like there was just some Kyle Mononga. Like there's so many guys. DJ Giddens. So one of these guys are going to hit. We just don't know which one yet. So it's just like a matter of you got to take your shots. And then towards the bottom of the roster here, Sean.
It's getting ugly now. It's drop it
Yeah,
off.
but we're 10 deep. We talked about 10 guys that we feel decent about. You know,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
great stuff.
Yep.
So from here, I guess my next question is, you know, with your roster crunch, like which of the guys that were probably worth talking about? Because I mean, I would imagine that Land Larson, hate to say it, he's probably gone.
Godspeed, sir.
It was a great run.
You, the USFL has got a superstar in its hands coming in. Tell you
just
what.
with a name like Land Larson, you'll get latched on somewhere. You have
Yeah,
to.
I mean, Mostert's probably going to be the handcuff, so I probably have to hold on to him one more year.
Yeah, probably just for
That
random
offense is going to
blow
be
up value.
pretty good. I think he'll still. I don't think he's going to have standalone value, but I think he's going to have like some role in the offense, even with Genty out there.
They can't
But
run him that hard. Like they
no,
have to
like
use him.
yeah, if he got carries, if Genty's playing and his carries hit triple digits, I would be pretty shocked. So he's definitely not going to be like a relevant player, most likely, but it's a guy that wouldn't immediately get picked up by somebody, I would imagine, if I dropped him. So, and then Ty Johnson's probably gone now that James Cook is not holding out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will see if Najee Harris can play football. That one actually.
Yeah, Vidal actually kind of. I wonder what his value looks like now, because like I feel like it may have gone up a little.
A little.
No, I lied.
Nope.
Nobody wants him.
It's gone up 12 in the last month.
I mean, like he could very well be the backup. Like it's. I mean that's another handcuff value guy.
Yeah, I mean, and Justice Hill's got a very specific role in that Ravens offense, where like it's just the value is not very high, but like
he's the third down back.
So you'll probably hold him until there's no reason to hold him, and then he's definitely cuttable, but I don't know if I will or not.
He's cuttable, but he's also very rosterable.
That's right.
If that makes any sense. So,
big clogger right there.
Yeah, that Justice Hill is a great running back clog. If we're talking about who needs a plunger, Justice Hill is definitely one of those guys. Have you ever started Justice Hill on your team?
I think so. He's been on my team for a little while now.
I know, that's why I mentioned it. I was like, I would love to know, like some of these guys that we always call a clog. How many times have we started these guys, but they just stay on the roster because they're just a team guy. They're like the team.
I picked him up August 2023.
Okay, so he's been around
the team for 2 years now. So
couple years.
Season, I definitely started him at some point.
Like with the running back, especially before Henry got there, probably. Yeah. All right, let's go to the receivers. We got a really solid room here, at least at the starters, in my opinion. Amon-Ra St. Brown going into his 5th year now. He's got a contract. There's no issues there. He's going to be turning 26 this year. We've talked a lot about Ben Johnson leaving. I just think he's really good, and I think he's so good at what he does in terms of work the middle of the field, move the chains, get explosive plays after the catch. He's just rock solid, and to me he's just one of these guys you really don't have to worry about, because as long as he's playing, he's going to be producing in some capacity. Is there like how? I mean, obviously he's had monster years in the past couple of years, Sean.
I think the easiest way to explain him going into this year is he's the guy that I'm the least worried about with the Ben Johnson, like with him leaving.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he finished wide receiver 3, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 9 in 2022, and then the 23rd. So like he's never been outside the top 10 in the last 3 years. He's had over 106 catches in every one of those last 3 seasons. The only thing that might come down maybe is like the touchdowns. He had 12 last year and 10 the year before, but like they don't have a whole lot of other options like outside of like Laporta that project as like a really good, like receiving threat for touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean he's just dynamic in short space. I mean it's like he can take a screen, like a red zone screen into the end zone. Like he's good just on a route in the end zone. I think it's I don't remember how many touchdowns he had last year, but I mean I can't imagine it's going to be
12.
He had 12. So like he's a threat for double digits every year.
Yeah, and I kind of like the more I watch him play, I kind of just like feel like he is like a modern day like Keenan Allen in a lot of ways, where he's never really gonna like smoke you deep or, do these crazy things, but he always finds a way to get open in the red zone. He's excellent on those like double moves inside the 5 and the 10-yard line. He just always seems to be open. And that's kind of like what Keenan Allen was. So like, I feel like he's kind of like a souped up version of that in some ways in terms of his production.
Yeah, I will say that maybe a little bit of a misconception about Amon-Ra is that he is just a slot king, but he took over 50% of his snaps from outside of the slot last year. So
yeah, they did move people around quite a bit. I mean, I think Laporta played a lot of slot as well last year, which bodes well for the Colston Loveland owners in Chicago. But yeah, I just he's not a guy I'm worried about. So you just kind of just plug and play. And then we'll go to Drake London, who had a good year last year as well. He kind of fit that last year in that, wide receiver one, true wide receiver one, year, had that breakout year at 6 overall finish for wide receivers, had 100 catches for 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. Was definitely Kirk Cousins' favorite guy when he was playing. And then when Penix took over, it really was
guy.
Yeah. Then there wasn't any problem towards the end of the year. His last game of the season, he had 18 targets, 10 catches, 187 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He finished the last 2 weeks of the season, 106 yards and 187. So, I mean, he just got better and better as the year went on, frankly. And he's one of these guys that with a whole nother year working with Penix in the offseason, he's only 24 years old. He's playing on the 5th-year option this year, so he's going to be shooting for that contract.
Did he get paid?
That was 3 months ago, so maybe he got paid. I can look that up real quick. Let's see. Drake London contract. He
might not have.
He's still on the rookie deal, but they picked up his 5th-year option for next year.
That could definitely be a contract that comes up in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine.
Yeah, and like they don't have to pay literally anybody else on this team, so might as well just pay him. He's good. He's really good, and I think he got a lot better last year. Like if you watch, I watched the NFL 100 where they were talking about him. Other DBs talking about how much better he got as a route runner last year. I just think he's very good, and at this point, like you can lock him into a top 12 finish probably at this point, based on target share. Because he had 158 targets, 100 catches for 1,209 last year. So I mean, he was the wide receiver 6 and played. He's only missed 1 game in his career too, which is awesome.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, I think I would probably be comfortable taking him around like wide receiver, like 8, 9, 10, somewhere there.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. All right. He's just good. He's just one of those guys we don't have a whole lot to talk about. He's just a good player. And he's really young, and he's playing basically for a new contract, so you love that. Tyreek Hill, we talked a tiny bit about, but, he's still Tyreek Hill. Like, I mean, he's 32 almost now. The guy, like, say what you want about him on, off the field, whatever. The guy he's the most explosive player in the league, even at 32. Like, he just finds a way to get open. He's a complete matchup problem, no matter how old he is at this point. It doesn't even matter. You have to be aware of him on the field. And so much of this Miami offense runs around the speed of all these players. And there's no doubt that if he's playing and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing in this offense, and the line's working and the screen game's working, like, he's going to have value. He's just a really hard player to figure out what to do with in a dynasty league, because unless you're contending, you probably don't want to have him, but then at the same time, you can't really sell him short. Right now, his value, keep trade cut wise on here, is showing 112 through 204, which feels just like, I don't know, like if I had him, I don't think I would trade him for 204. Like, is that how you're feeling basically?
I would have tried to trade him multiple times.
I mean, I guess,
but I'm not going to sell him short. So like,
no. Like, what do you think his value is? Like, what do you think he should be traded for?
I think he's like one of a handful of players that is you're just never going to find a fair deal at this point for him. Sure. So like, I think I've just given up. Like, I'll definitely look at offers if somebody sends me an offer for Hill. Like, I am always willing to deal. But it's really tough. I think he's still got a quality season or two left in him, just based on how dynamic he is. Like watching him last year, it felt like a lot of times he wasn't catching the ball on the run or like with space in front of him, and that had a lot to do with whether it was injuries with Tua or with the offensive line, where there just wasn't time to really do anything dynamic in that offense last year. It was just a lot of let's throw the ball on a quick screen to Achan, Johnny Smith, or just a quick little in or quick little wide receiver screen to Tyreek Hill. There's just nothing downfield. I mean, week one, he had like a 70-yard touchdown, and after that, he didn't have a completion over like 30 yards the rest of the season or something.
Yeah.
So, like,
I'm
it's
looking
just,
at his finish from last year. He finished at wide receiver 23. He had 123 targets, 81 catches for just under 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. And that was like a bad year. Like that was not a good year at all. And he still finished wide receiver 23. He's only missed one game over the last 4 years. So like he's been out there. So I mean, the previous 2 years he finished wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3. So maybe they're somewhere in the middle again this year.
yeah, I mean, on top of all that, he played with a wrist tendon problem all last year for the most part. After he was accosted by Miami police, or however you want to
Or whatever the hell was
interpret
going
that
on.
situation. I don't know.
It's the most random. I remember waking up to that like that morning or whatever. Like I was at the gym or something. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" He's like outside the stadium and just like, "What is it?" This is just
Literally, it was literally the morning of the first Sunday of the year.
Yeah, I remember. I was
What a
like,
wild start to the year last year.
it was unbelievable.
He's like an enigma as far as like doing a redraft ranking this year, because like just putting out like raw stats and stuff, he is like, I am like way ahead of ADP on Tyreek Hill this year, but like I am not gonna take him. I'm gonna take him closer to like where ADP is.
Yeah, you don't want to reach on Tyreek Hill,
Yeah,
which is
like
weird. I mean, he had 1,700 yards both the previous years. Like it's not like, and he's not that much. He was only 2 years older. He's only 2 years removed from that. So it's like, yeah, he's 31, but he's also a freak of nature. Like the guy is just not. I always talk about on this podcast like there's some guys in this league that are just built different. They have different athletic traits that nobody else has, like the Derrick Henrys, the Julio Jones. Like there's just DK Metcalfs. Like there's just guys that can just last longer, and I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill is one of them.
Side note: have you seen any of the camp clips from Pittsburgh with Metcalf?
I saw like a couple where they can't complete a basic slant pass.
He looks so fucking huge.
He is fucking huge, Sean. That's the thing.
But like even more, like he looked like just chiseled in Seattle. He looks just massive, like not fat, but just like that's a tight end like all day.
I mean, he might as well be a tight end at that. Like he's basically Kyle Pitts size for the most part. Like I think he's a couple inches shorter. But...
like, not to take the Lord's name in vain, but like he's like the size like Calvin Johnson was. Like,
I mean, I think he's 6'4", 240 or something. Yeah. Like he's just like a.
Calvin was that size, like 235 in the NFL, just gassing people.
I'm trying to see if I can find this clip of him.
He's basically the same size, except he has like 30% of the skill that Calvin Johnson has in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean he's a complete freak. Here's a tweet. Let me try to pull this up, see if this works. This catch was very nice, by the way.
Is this the sideline one?
Yeah, it looks very Pickens-esque for the most part, but he's just so much bigger. Look at how fucking big he is compared to that.
God, he's just massive.
He's like twice as wide as that corner.
Is that Slay?
I don't even know who that is.
It's either Slay, Porter.
But it's nice to see Aaron Rodgers just fucking chucking it up too. I just kind of love that.
Yeah, just how far out of bounds that was.
It wasn't even close, but it was beautiful to watch.
Why are you diving for that? Great way.
In training camp, yeah, of course, yeah. I'm sure you got a talking to after that.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving. We got Courtland Sutton up next, fresh off the contract extension. That's got to make you feel pretty damn good, right?
Yeah, I mean, locked in. There's nobody that's really coming for the top target on that team anytime soon, from what it looks like. I mean, there's plenty of guys that are like have niches on that team that look are nice and like you'd like to have him on your team, but I mean he is just so firmly locked in as the guy on that team.
Yeah, and he's like, I think with that contract, like he's playing a specific role that nobody else on this team is basically going to take over. Like he's
Right.
just this is who he is. And I think he's like one of the most easily projectable players, if that makes sense. Like I think you could just lock him in as like the top red zone threat,
Yep.
and he's gonna have, 6 to 10 touchdowns at the very least, probably. And it just feels like a really quality, at the very minimum in our dynasty league, like a flex play at the very worst, and probably a wide receiver 3 or 2
Yeah, I've
somewhere
got him
else.
as like a mid-range wide receiver 3 this year.
I mean, just a nice guy to have in your lineup, because you never feel bad about having him in your lineup, but you also don't feel like amazing. It's like, yeah, it's Cortland Sutton's in there, so it's just like solid. But there hasn't been many players. I will say it's like there hasn't been many players like him, like over the last 10 years. Like I feel like he's just such a unique, like he's never gonna reach elite talent, but he's also like not bad at all and just like a quality player. Like he's just kind of his own type of player in Dynasty. So all right, Devontae Adams is next, part of the deal that you made recently.
I will say one more thing, sorry, about
sure.
Cortland Sutton is he was part of my I believe he was part of my first draft when I came back, and he's been on my team the entire time.
Wow, so he's going to be
so you can call him he's basically the captain of this team.
Well, one way or another, he's the captain. I think he is very well looking like he might be a PHU Dynasty Hall of Famer one day, just because of the tenure of the player, more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, hey, strings along just quality seasons the next couple of years. Like he's there, he's right there.
Let me see. I'm curious to look at this one more time. His finishes. I mean, up until last year, he kind of
his quarterback situations were absolute shit.
They were dog shit. So he had a wide receiver 17 finish in his second year, 1,000 yards and 6, and then he got hurt one year. Then he finished wide receiver 47, 45, but then picked it up with 28. And then last year he was wide receiver 10, which in a rookie Bo Nix season, he was wide receiver 10 with 1,081 yards and 8 touchdowns. Like I could see that going up. Like I really could. Like it wouldn't surprise me if he finished with 9, 10 touchdowns and some more yards too. Like he definitely could pull that off. All right, let's go to the next guy in the list. Devontae Adams gets picked up by the Rams in an offseason deal. I think he's going to be one of the better old guys, in the league this year. I don't think. If anything, was last year was an indication, like he still got it. Like even with Rodgers, and how bad the Jets were, the guy's always open. I think he's at this point he is the best route runner in the league still at age 32 or whatever he is, and he is a perfect fit for the McVay offense in that Cooper Kupp role. I think he's probably going to be one of the more undervalued dynasty assets just based on age, but the guy's great. Like he's still great.
I mean, this team's got one of the 5 best zone beaters in the NFL in Puka Nacua, and they've got one of the 5 best man beaters at receiver in Devontae Adams. I think that's maybe not top 5 at this point because of age, but like where I'm getting at. Like they have answers to whatever teams want to do against them. Like I think he's still that guy. Like maybe not the guy, but he's still a dude. Like
I still think he's like if you need 8 yards on third down, I'm not worried about Devontae Adams. Like he's the guy that like he's going to get open and he's going to make a catch. Like that's the last thing I'm worried about.
I've heard enough interviews with him at this point where like his goal is to make the Hall of Fame, like undoubtedly make the Hall of Fame and be one of the best receivers of all time. Like that's where his head is at this point. So like,
which is great. Which is
I don't
absolutely
think
great.
If he can still play, he's gonna go out there. I don't think he's gonna be one of those guys that like, all right, we're gonna ride out in the sunset like at 32 or 33. Like I think he's pretty much tied at this point to Stafford. I think they're both going to be in LA until Stafford is done.
And he has not had less than 140 targets since 2019. So like he's
happening this year.
He just gets the ball. He's never had less than 8 touchdowns since 2019. And he's had a couple of years sprinkled in with 14,
Okay.
18, 13, 12, 10, 11. Like the guy just produces. He does everything. He gets the yards. He gets the touchdowns. His last year of under 10 touchdowns, which actually this is a crazy stat. His last year, or I'm sorry, one of his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in 9 seasons, he had 1 year that he had less than 8 touchdowns.
I'm assuming that was with Derek Carr.
And that was actually a Green Bay year in 2019, which I think was one of the years that Rodgers got hurt, maybe. No, he got hurt. He only played 12 games. So that kind of adds up. The guy just produces. Like he's 32, but he's a guy that I'm just probably one of the only 32-year-old receivers I'm not worried about at all. Like he's just great.
I'm gonna overshare a little bit on my redraft rankings, but like I've got like a top like at wide receiver 13. I think there is just a drop off. Like I have one of the widest gaps I've ever written for like a wide receiver teardrop. But the next guy I have on the list is Davante Adams at 14.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, I just don't see any way that you can rank him outside the top 20 based on what we saw last year. He's still got all the talent that he used to have. I mean, there's really no reason to believe that he's going to slow down. I think his only real question, which would actually be hilariously ironic, is if Matt Stafford can't stay healthy, and then guess who he's catching passes from?
The guy that tried to put him in the hospital.
The guy that he hated more than anybody else is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting. But if
I noticed that like a few days ago, and I was like, huh.
I mean, that's the only issue. That's literally the only thing that could derail him.
There's literally nobody around me, and I literally let out like just an audible chuckle because it was that funny. I was like, huh.
Jimmy is trying.
Oh no.
That would be
hospital
crazy.
Ball Jimmy. God damn it.
That guy loves.
No, he's gonna get. If Jimmy G plays, he's going to get Puka Nacua absolutely fried.
And Puka doesn't care. Yeah, he doesn't care. He's fearless.
He's going to get Austin Collied. You know what I'm saying?
Don't say that. All right. Next up, we got rookie Kyle Williams, one of your favorites, Sean, for sure. He's your son, Kyle Williams, a 3rd-round pick, 22 years old, out of Washington State, 5'11", 190. My comp for him coming into the league was Darnell Mooney. I think that kind of just fit. He's a good route runner, good hands, smaller guy.
Mine was Tyler Lockett, so there we go.
It's not all that different, really. I mean, obviously Lockett carved out a much more impressive career, but I just like the player. I didn't love the player. And the landing spot with the Patriots is always a bit questionable. Historically has never been a great spot for receivers to land. But I do think the tide is turning a little bit in the Patriots world as far as the offense is concerned. Obviously, with Drake May being there, different OC, I feel like he's guaranteed, basically at this point, to be on the field in some capacity as a rookie. I think at this point you're probably looking at. I know earlier we mentioned Kayshon Boutte was kind of starting as the X, but I could see that changing all the time. I think it might be more of a rotation at that point, but I think it's going to be him, Diggs, Demario Davis, and Boutte.
Yeah, he's probably Kyle Williams, probably the best guy on this team out of press. He's definitely dynamic. I think he can play all 3 spots too, which just gives him an advantage as well. I mean, and he got great hands. So like that's going to be the big thing with him and Kayshon Boutte. Like Boutte had a lot of drops last year.
Yeah, he did have a lot of drops. And
I imagine he'll probably end up starting. From what I've read so far, it'll be Boutte, but I really don't think it'll be very long before Kyle Williams is really eating snaps.
No, I think they're gonna. He's another guy like I think we mentioned on a previous podcast, but just like the Patriots wide receiver room will be great to watch in the preseason because there's just so many guys that will either likely get cut that probably will end up on another team or something like that. But Williams as the wide receiver, essentially 4, I would call it right now. Like he's going to get some run in the preseason, should be very good. But I think he's going to have no real problems finding his way into some sort of role at some point within the first 8 weeks of the season. They're just going to realize that, oh, this guy does too many things well to keep off the field, and that's really what it comes down to. Whereas some of these other guys, there's every reason to take them off the field, like a Mac Hollins, Jalen Polk. Like there's too many reasons to take them off the field, frankly. So I think he'll be just fine. And out of this, big camp battle, his job is very, very safe, so that there's no real issue there.
Yeah. And just to keep it objective as possible, because it's hard for me because my bias with that one, but like he is a little slight and he's a little undersized. So like I do worry about like him just kind of getting bumped off of routes downfield, stuff like that. And he's going to have to be a motherfucker in the air to win balls in the NFL because he's not going to win it most likely physically.
So. No, I think he's just kind of going to settle in. And I hate to reiterate it again, but like in that Mooney role where he's going to beat people with his route running, beat people with his speed, his ability to get off press, which is actually pretty good for his size. So I think all those things lead to a guy that the coaches will love and just get him on the field somehow.
I thought he had the best release package of any wide receiver coming out this year.
I mean, frankly, like just in terms of route running, I know that A.D. Mitchell was, not great last year, but he had a lot of similarities in terms of beating man. Because like I think I also read too, just not to go back to A.D. Mitchell again, but A.D. Mitchell led through week 8. He led the league in separation score, which I could see a similar thing happening for Kyle Williams. Also, too, A.D. Mitchell, I think, was wide receiver 4 last year for the most part, and so is Kyle Williams here probably. So
that's all you need with a quarterback that is just in. He will say "fuck it" and just.
Yeah, he's the anti Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. Like this is a much better situation, so it shouldn't be an issue. Romeo Doubs, recently acquired Romeo Doubs, also on this team.
I traded Doubs,
or maybe he's not. Maybe then
he's on Dan's team now.
That's true.
Wait,
let me
I guess I probably should.
I resynced this 3 days ago.
Yeah, I should probably just reiterate that trade real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and do that while I'm doing this.
So I traded Doubs a 2026, Alex's 2026 4th, and my 2027 3rd for Dan's 2026 3rd and Dustin's 2026 4th. So I'm essentially betting on moving significantly up in this in the 3rd round in this next draft.
Right. Because you would assume
it was just
high pick.
Me trying to beat the roster crunch and trying to look forward and see if I can get like a good solid pick as opposed to my like a 4th and my 3rd 2 years from now. So that was kind of the idea.
Yeah, it's a nice forward-thinking move, and when you're in a crunch, it's always nice to get something back from these guys.
And in my head, I'm like, is Doubs going to play at all? Am I going to start him at any point?
You're not starting Doubs this year unless he gets traded or something.
Yeah,
which is possible, but like you might as well just get what you can for him now.
And I talked myself into that. I'm like, okay, what teams could he go to? The most obvious would be like if like Pittsburgh wanted to add a guy that Rodgers knew, and like even then,
right.
Okay, on that team, that's probably not even any better of a situation. So like for me at this point, like he's just not a guy that's going to get in the lineup. So we're not going to clog the roster. We're going to look forward.
Yeah, and if you can get that higher draft pick too, that will pay dividends down the road. Next on your list then would be Darnell Mooney, who literally we just talked about. So I think he might be banged up right now. Sean, is that true?
Yeah, he is like questionable for week 1 at this point. Was the most recent thing that I read. Which I don't need him for week 1. I need him potentially as a bye week filler at this rate. So
right, and he had a great year last year. He really looked good. Yeah. I mean, he had a nice stretch. I had him in another league, and
I consider him just like a rock solid, just in real life, just a rock solid wide receiver 2 for most any team.
Yeah, like I remember when he was even on the Bears, and I was like, man, like I loved Darnell Mooney. Just the situation was always terrible.
Yeah.
Finally ended up in a decent situation last year. He did slow down quite a bit towards the end of the year when Penix took over. But early in the year, he was awesome.
He was hurt. the end of the list.
He looks like he was hurt for week 18 and week 15, but everything else
Sharks
he looks
injury.
pretty good.
Hello, Draft Sharks. Thank you. God bless this website.
Yeah, it looks like maybe week 11 he only played 58% of the snaps, and then week 18 he didn't play at all.
Shoulder injury January 2nd. Hamstring pull November 17th. So that's
that would be week 11, yeah. And he didn't really do much those couple of weeks after that. But then he had a 142-yard game against Minnesota on week 14. So like he had some big blow-up games, like 20 points, 14 points, 14 points, 15. So like he's very usable. And he was for I think he finished the year on wide receiver 31, but missed 2 games basically. So he's a good player. Definitely a great, flex bench player for sure. Next on your list, we got a couple of rookies, Alec Iomanner and Torrey Horton. Both of them, I haven't heard much buzz on Horton, I'll say that. But I have for
just
Alec
getting
Iomanner.
back into like team activities right now. So he's
going to be a little behind.
Yep.
But he's a guy, the Seahawks might be my favorite outside of some of these other teams we mentioned, might be my favorite preseason receiver group to watch because they have Ricky White as well. So Ricky White, Torrey Horton should be very exciing.
And Arroyo, I'm assuming.
And Arroyo, which you would imagine he'd play quite a bit as well.
And we'll see the running back.
Oh, Damian Martinez.
And Damian Martinez.
Speaking of Damian Martinez, just complete side topic. I read a tweet earlier in the day that said it was one of the beat reporters for the Seahawks. He said he's been covering the team for 10 years and he's never seen a better pass protecting running back than Damian Martinez, which is crazy because that's not what he was billed at all.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Like I didn't even think he was average at it last year for Miami. So
you said it was who said that?
It was a Seahawks beat reporter who's been there for 10 years.
Okay. All right.
But
if it was like
that means something.
I would. Yeah, but beat reporters don't know what an assignment is on any given play. Like they don't know what they're looking at.
Well, this was based on pass protection. Like there's always one drill every practice where it's linebackers versus running backs.
He's a fucking thick, so he's not getting run over by anybody for sure.
But the 2 reps before it in the video, I wonder if maybe I could find the video because it was kind of worthwhile. But the 2 reps before it was Charbonnet, who did well. Kenny Walker got smoked. So it was kind of let me see if I can find it. Damian Martinez.
Yeah, I can vamp on Torrey Horton. So Torrey Horton, 5th rounder. We both loved him coming out. He's got a great opportunity. I think outside of JSN, I really don't think there's a ton of things keeping him away from earning reps on this team. Cooper Kupp is, for me, he's washed and he's a very big injury risk week to week. And then MVS has been around for a while. And I think they liked him in New Orleans last year when he came in, but I think he's definitely a very beatable guy. So Torrey Horton's definitely got a path to the field that is pretty reasonable. And I was big on him coming out. I mean, talent.
I love them coming out.
I like his odds. I mean, he's definitely a guy that will be on my roster this season.
Yeah, I just think he has everything I like from my ones, big X receivers, good route runner, great on in cutters, has great hands. He's just a little bit thin, so that might be tough for him to stay healthy.
I think early in his career, in breakers where he's able to run away on deep crosses is going to be where he's going to kind of make his money. Okay, that was a really good rep.
Dude, his base is so wide, his hand placement is perfect. He's great at mirroring. So it's if that's what we're, I mean, obviously probably going against some guy that's going to get cut, but
if he just looks fantastic in preseason, is Charbonnet a guy that could potentially be on the move?
I wouldn't be surprised because he's going to be coming up on a contract year soon too. I think him and Walker are probably both in contract situations soon.
Talk yourself into him maybe not being a great fit with the outside zone scheme compared to Walker, and if Martinez is looking great, might I cash in a little bit of value? I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, I just like Damian Martinez too. I liked him coming out. So it's
right. That's what I'm talking about. Keep Martinez and trade Charbonnet.
Yeah, I think it would just make sense. He can get some more longevity maybe there if he's actually usable on third downs. The problem is Charbonnet is good on third downs too, which
Probably save a couple $1 million too, because I mean, 7th rounder compared to, I think Charbonnet was a 2nd rounder, correct?
second or third, probably second. So, and then Io Manor too. Just to quickly touch on him, he did have some buzz going around early on in camp. So I feel like he's.
I think the bare minimum for him in the NFL is he's going to be the next Mac Hollins.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
I think that's like his floor, and then it's just a matter of like whether he can put it together really on top of that.
He kind of like from a prospect profile, he's like a more athletic Michael Wilson to me.
Look up a clip of him just blocking in training.
Oh, he's so good at blocking.
He's
he's a dog, as they
say. He absolutely just mowed over a DB. It was sick.
I love those kind of guys, and the thing is, the coaches love those kind of guys. So like if he's doing that consistently, he's going to be on the field.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that one works out. He's probably, of the young wide receivers, he's definitely the guy that I have the most questions about of whether I think he is good or not. But he definitely has a skill set that's going to get him on the field for sure.
I saw there was a couple of clips of him, which this has turned into a bit of a clip show, but it's that time of year where we just get hyped for no reason. So so I saw a couple of clips of him, and like it's rare to see big guys, and this is the same thing I mentioned with Ted McMillan a couple of weeks ago. Just when you see a big guy moving so well, that just, you don't see it very often, and so when you do see it, it really is eye-opening. And I watched this clip, which I love the AO on it. It really makes me laugh. But like, just watch the way this guy moves for a 6'2", 210-pound player.
Pristine hands at work right there.
I mean, yeah. But like, I'm the first clip, like he gets into this break so fucking fast for a guy that's that size, and you just say, "Oh my god, that guy has something special."
It's funny. It's like he doesn't even look that big, but like his measurables are impressive. Like
6'2", 210, and he had a very good 40-yard dash.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it's just the fact that he can sink and get out like that so fast. I love it. Yeah. So I think there's a real shot that he's a player.
And I believe he was a hockey player. He's from Canada, and he went.
Is he the new Big Maple?
And then he went to Stanford. So like the guy is smart.
Yeah, he's gonna learn the playbook.
Like all those things.
All right, then we have DeAndre Hopkins, who
goodbye King.
It was a man. You can send him to me for nothing. Maybe we should do a legacy trade.
Legacy trade.
I think we can maybe work something out.
Hold on.
Well, I'm not going to trade anybody good for him.
That's what I mean. Like who's going to get cut from your team that like I would be funny to trade for?
Jaleel McLaughlin, so you can have the entire Denver backfield, except for Audric.
I don't have this to me.
We can work something out. we need to think about some legacy trade for DeAndre, because he's having him and Kelsey back. Oh man, what a run!
Maybe if Polk gets cut, we can just trade.
Yeah, Polk is without a doubt on the trading block, right on the chopping block right now. It's very possible.
If Najee has to medically retire because he only has one eye, we could do that.
That would be a great legacy trade, and then we could just send him back to Alex just for free, basically, after you cut him. Good times. All right, let's go to tight ends. We'll wrap this up. Tucker Kraft, one of your most recent acquisitions. We talked about it before on the podcast. We won't spend too much time here, but we both like Tucker Kraft. I just think he's very good and he's young. So I think, and I think like your team has never really had a quality. I hate to say it, but like not a quality young tight end. Like there's always been like a guy here, a guy there, the Dallas Goedert, whatever. Just kind of a ho hum.
We've been on the hunt.
You've been looking around. I mean, you had Theo Johnson. I don't think is dead. I think Goddard's like a fine too.
It really comes down to like just like in any of our rookie drafts. Like I've always been the guy that will pass on a tight end that really I shouldn't be passing on, but like I'm taking all the running backs and receivers I can get, or I'm the guy that's taking the quarterback in the third rounds, whether it's Lamar or Drake May or JJ McCarthy, where I just find the value to be better. I like the upside better of those guys. So like it's just it's a position that I've just realistically I've just punted on. since
And
I come
tight
back
end
to the
just,
league. So
dude, the hit rate on tight ends that are not first round picks are just, it's terrible. It's absolutely awful. I mean, you can look at, I mean, how many times in just passing have we talked about how many shitty second round tight ends there have been over the years with Adam Shaheen and fucking Drew Sample. And I mean, I could come up with 100 names like Max Williams and just like all these just shitheads that everybody gets hyped up on, and they just usually don't work out. Like I would say their hit rates are well below, 25%. So, spending a third or a fourth even on a tight end is not really a very lucrative investment for the most part. So like I'd follow you there. It's just kind of one of those positions that you would rather take in the fourth and fifth in the rookie drafts and the waiver draft portion of it, or try to just kind of sift your way and, find a upside guy like a Tucker Kraft later on and just kind of trade some capital around and just find some guys that way. So there's definitely multiple ways to get tight ends, but this is the cheapest route for sure.
And I think I've tweaked that approach a little bit. I've obviously traded for a couple of guys that are on the younger side this offseason. So, and
I think it's a good room. Like overall, like they have you ranked 8, but I think that's too low.
I mean, the numbers war. I guess I'm winning. Like if I play the right guys in the right weeks, I could definitely finish higher than that. I mean, that's a problem that everybody has in this league, though. But
yeah, but there's still upside here too. Like there's, I think Henry and Goddard, we know exactly what we're getting, but then Kraft and Johnson, like you have some shots to find some more value there too. So
yeah, I mean, specifically on Kraft, I think he's definitely has an opportunity to be a top 2 target on this team. Like, I mean, it's just such an undecided skill position group outside of Jacobs at running back. So
I've got him as a top 10 guy this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've got him. I think I've got him at 5.
I mean, 5 is a little more than I have him, but like he's definitely within the top 10 for me. I haven't really figured out that range of rankings yet for me in redraft, but like there's no way I'm putting him outside the top 10.
When I say 5, it's like there's the top 3 guys, and then like everybody else really just doesn't matter that much at tight end. Realistically,
right.
You're just hoping to catch the touchdown week from a guy.
Tucker Kraft finished tight end 7 last year, so why wouldn't he be in the tight end? Like he didn't get any worse.
That's where I'm at.
700 yards and 7 touchdowns. So it's like I don't see how his value goes down from that. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
that's where I've got him this year. I mean, his yak ability, he was like number 1, I think, in like average yards after the catch or so, like per catch. Like he's great with the ball in his hands. Like that's just another, like, being dynamic in that position. There's just not that many guys. So
yeah, I mean, he's only 24. He's going into his 3rd year, so I think he'll be good, man. I like him. And then just rounding out this group, we have Eric Gall and Taysom Hill. Eric Gall, I honestly don't think he's ever going to play again, but he'll
probably play. I mean, he's
only on his injury history.
Third ACL.
It's just not good. I mean,
who was that guy for? Was it Jake Butt on the Broncos where he was just?
That's a great career comparison that I could absolutely just seeing him being that guy where he just never really plays, but everybody knew he was good. I loved him coming out, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And then Taysom Hill is just Taysom Hill, basically, at this point.
Somehow is not on the inactive pup to start the year. Somehow he tore his ACL in week 13 or 14 last year.
I didn't realize he's going to be 35.
And he's old.
Yeah. I kind of forgot that he was 35. It's crazy.
I'll be the fool, but I mean, he's probably, if he's not somebody that I can put on the IR, he's not going to make my team. So
no, he'd be a fucking awesome IR stash, though. Just a clean IR stash. All right, and then for defenses and kickers, I gotta click your team here, but maybe you can rattle them off if you got them.
Get to it. Defenses, I've got Houston, Detroit, and
love Houston.
Who was the other team? Is it Miami?
Green Bay.
It was Green Bay, yeah.
Which is another solid defense.
Yeah, I mean, I like all 3 of my defenses. I think I've already said on here, but like Houston, I think is just going to be a top 3 or 4 defense.
They're awesome. So. And then Green Bay was a number 4 fantasy defense last year with only 1 defensive touchdown. So that's pretty awesome.
And it's funny, is like I would take Detroit over Green Bay. I think Detroit's defense is going to be.
They had 17 picks last year.
Detroit?
Yeah. No, Green Bay.
Well, Xavier McKinney had like, what do you have, like 7 or 8?
Yeah. Houston had 19 last year. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, their whole secondary is just a bunch
I think I'm just amazed because the Bucks don't ever get picks. So
yeah.
So let me look how many the Bucks had last year. Because I don't think it was over 10. I think we sucked.
Well, the secondary was just brutal last year.
Yeah, we had 7. So yeah, we just could not get anything going last year secondary wise, but it should be better this year. All right. Well, with that, we will take a look here at the power rankings.
We have Dicker the kicker also.
And you have Dicker the kicker. Okay, so that
for
means
the
something
vibes.
to me.
The vibes.
Dicker the kicker, who finished kicker number 3 last year. So love that. Made a career high 39 field goals last year. He only missed 3 field goals last year. Pretty wild.
And he had a free kick.
And he had a free kick, which should have been some fantasy.
Gotta get points for that.
Points per free kick league.
Figure out how to make money on this.
I gotta figure out a way to make money on this. All right, so for players only, your ranking is 4th on Keep Trade Cut, which seems pretty fair overall. I think there's just a lot of reasons to like your team from an elite talent standpoint. I love having Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love having Drake London. I love having Lamar Jackson. I do love having Tucker Kraft. You still have guys that are maybe aging out a little bit, but also Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. There's just a lot of reasons to still really believe that this team is still a contending team, let alone a championship team and won it the last 2 years. So, from a 3-peat perspective, I still definitely think we're in the hunt. I think we're in the top 5 teams of the league for sure. So I'm excited to see if you end up being the first ever 3-peat. I know that I'll give you the floor here a little bit on just the team construction, because I know there's been quite a few moves over the last year and a half where it's a bit, I don't want to call it a retool, but it kind of is in a way. But this is still it's getting younger while still contending, which is one of the hardest things to do. And it seems you've managed to do it.
I mean, I think the adage in the NFL is if you stop improving, you die, essentially. Like you got to you can't be content with what you got. So, I mean, if I've got an opportunity to make my team better, like even if that means I'm selling a little bit, like in the short run, like I think I have enough talent as like a foundation where I can do those kinds of things. That's why I kind of went in on all of these like second and third round rookies this year, where like it's obvious like my team's getting older, so I gotta replenish. We gotta hit those picks. That's very important. We gotta hit at least a couple of these guys. I think it was a great year to try and do it with the late round running backs and a couple of the wide receivers I really liked coming into this draft that weren't necessarily like first round guys. So I kind of saw an opportunity that I wanted to move with, so I kind of took it. And then really, I think it's really underrated. Like just trying to work around like the fringes is important in this league. I think you kind of can aggregate like a win or two every year just by like staying as active as possible. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
Yeah, I think there's just like, especially with your draft pick situation, coming up over the next couple of years, we don't have the first or the second for the next couple of years, but if like you're saying, if you have a bunch of these thirds, if you're making these kind of lower level moves and not so sexy moves like these Romeo Doubs trades that you just made, retooling, moving on from Kyren Williams, things like that, getting Tucker Kraft, getting younger but also more talented, and then giving yourself some lottery tickets to kind of fill in the spaces. Like, I think if you're talking about a team that's already won 2 championships in a row, and then trying to kind of project that moving forward without just aging out entirely, which has happened to teams in this league. I think this is a great way to kind of stay in the mix, but also try to get younger as well. So I actually think I do think this is definitely a contending team. And I think even though I don't think we have a first round pick until 29, which is crazy to even say. But does it matter if you win 3 in a row? No, it doesn't matter at all. So like I think it's a reasonable cause to just kind of go out and fuck them picks. And But at the same time, it's not like we don't have any picks. We have 3/3. We have a second and 28. I believe we moved up now because you have that plague third, which might actually basically be 3-1 or 3-2. So that's almost a second right there. So it's just like little moves like that. I really like. And then I like the players on this team too. Like a lot of talented players. A few that maybe I'm not so high on, but they also have like good opportunities, like the RJ Harveys of the world. So I just think this is a really well constructed team overall, and definitely in the top half of the league. So interested to see where this team finishes, and definitely not going to be an easy team to play against week in and week out because of the depth. There's really no hole in terms of those wide receiver 5s, 6s, the RB 4s and 5s. Like there's always going to be somebody in the lineup that is you're not looking at saying, oh, that's the huge weakness. Whereas there's other teams in this league we could easily see getting into the flex plays and saying, oh my God, like this guy's in the flex. Like, what are we doing here? So I don't think that's gonna be an issue with this team. So I'm expecting another big year from the long gamers here, man. I think it's another good one. So with that, we will wrap up this episode 98. Next week, we will do my team, the Texas Armadillos. And the following week, we will do episode 100, which is the Muskegon Muskrats, and probably a few other things. So that should be super fun. And we're getting ever closer to football, which is the most important part. The only thing I will say that sucks, Sean, is that we have a game this Thursday, and then we got to wait all the way till next Thursday for another game, which sucks. Because I thought that it was Hall of Fame. I don't know why I think this every year. Hall of Fame game, and then Sunday and Saturday there's more games. There's not. There's nothing until the week after. So that sucks.
But there's going to be 2 team practices next week.
Oh, those are always fun.
So we're going to get a bunch of camp fights from guys trying to make the roster. So
somebody's going to punch somebody's helmet and break their hand.
Twitter's going to be on fire next week. So we got that.
Twitter should be great. Twitter should be great. And that's I think some of the teams had pads go on today, which usually is a good thing.
Yeah, it started yesterday.
So that should be fun. But anyway, we'll see you next time.